Arrival at the Shaolin Temple. High in the quiet mountains, far from the noise of the world, a narrow path begins to rise. It moves gently upward, winding through tall trees and soft mist. The air is cool and still. Each step forward feels slower than the last. There is no rush here. Only the sound of your footsteps and the quiet breath of the wind moving through the leaves. As you continue along the path, the world behind you begins to fade. The distant noise of towns and roads disappears completely. In its place, there is only silence, a deep, natural silence that seems to stretch across the mountains. The kind of silence that allows the mind to rest. The path becomes slightly steeper. Small stones shift softly beneath your feet. To one side, tall trees stand close together, their branches forming a gentle cover above. To the other side, the land opens just enough to reveal layers of distant mountains. They appear in soft shades of gray and blue, fading into the horizon. Mist moves slowly between them, like a quiet breath. As you walk, the scent of the forest becomes more noticeable. Earth, wood, and fresh air. It is a simple and grounding feeling. There is nothing complex here, nothing demanding your attention. Only the steady rhythm of walking and breathing. After some time, the path begins to level out. The trees thin slightly, allowing more light to pass through. The mist becomes lighter. And then, almost quietly, something appears ahead. At first, it is only a shape, a shadow among the trees. But as you move closer, the details begin to form. Wooden structures, curved rooftops, stone steps leading upward. You have arrived at the outer edge of the Shaolin Temple. The temple does not stand in a grand or overwhelming way. Instead, it feels like it belongs to the mountain, as if it has always been here. The buildings are simple, yet carefully built. Wood and stone, shaped with purpose and patience. The roofs curve gently, their edges lifting slightly toward the sky. Small details in the architecture reflect quiet craftsmanship. Nothing is excessive. Everything has a reason. You step closer. The ground beneath your feet changes from soft earth to worn stone. These stones have been here for a long time. Many footsteps have passed over them. Monks, travelers, visitors, all moving slowly, just as you are now. Near the entrance, tall trees stand like silent guardians. Their branches move gently in the breeze. There is no gate blocking the way, only an open space that invites calm entry. As you step into the temple grounds, the atmosphere shifts. The air feels even quieter here, even more still. The sounds of the forest remain, but they seem softer, as if the temple itself absorbs any noise that might disturb the peace. A wide courtyard opens before you. The ground is clean and simple. Stone tiles stretch across the open space. At the center, there is nothing. No decoration, no object drawing attention, only open space. This emptiness is intentional. It allows the mind to settle, to rest without distraction. Along the edges of the courtyard, several buildings stand in quiet balance. Their wooden walls reflect soft, natural tones. Some doors are closed, others are slightly open.
Inside, shadows move gently with the light. There are no sudden movements, no loud voices, only a slow, steady presence. In the distance, you notice a figure, a monk, walking calmly from one side of the courtyard to the other. His steps are slow and controlled. Each movement is deliberate. He carries nothing. He looks ahead, focused but relaxed. There is no urgency in his pace. He disappears quietly into one of the buildings. Moments pass. Nothing else changes, and yet everything feels complete. The temple does not need activity to feel alive. Its stillness is its life. A soft breeze moves through the courtyard. You can hear it gently brushing against the wooden structures. Somewhere, far inside the temple, a faint sound appears. A low wooden tone. It is not loud, not sharp, just a single calm note. Then, silence again. This is the rhythm of the temple. Sound and quiet, movement and stillness. You begin to walk slowly along the edge of the courtyard. Your footsteps are soft against the stone. You pass by a wooden pillar. Its surface is smooth from time and use. The grain of the wood is visible, shaped naturally. Nothing here is hidden. Everything is simple and honest. As you continue, you notice small details. A clay pot resting near a wall. A simple broom placed carefully beside a doorway. A folded cloth left to dry. Each object has its place. Nothing is out of order. This sense of order is not strict or forced. It feels natural, as if everything simply exists where it should be. You reach a set of shallow steps leading to one of the buildings. The door is open just enough to see inside. The interior is dim, lit only by soft natural light. Wooden floors, simple walls, no decoration beyond what is necessary. Inside, there is space. Space to sit, space to breathe, space to think, or not think at all. You do not enter. Instead, you pause, standing quietly at the doorway, observing, feeling. The air is calm. The silence is steady. There is no need to move forward, no need to do anything. Time seems to slow here, or perhaps it simply becomes less important. You step back gently and return your attention to the courtyard. The sky above is now clearer. The mist has begun to lift. Soft light spreads across the temple grounds. Shadows shift slowly along the stone floor. Another monk crosses the courtyard, this time carrying a small wooden bucket. His pace is the same, unhurried, focused. He disappears just as he arrived. Nothing interrupts the calm. Nothing disturbs the balance. You find a place near the edge of the courtyard and sit down. The stone beneath you is cool. The air moves gently. You take a slow breath, then another. There is no expectation here, no task to complete. Only presence, only stillness. And as you sit within the quiet space of the Shaolin Temple, surrounded by mountains and silence, the journey inward begins just as softly as the path that brought you here.
The sound of morning bells. Before the first light reaches the mountain, the temple is already awake. The sky is still dark, carrying a deep blue tone that stretches across the horizon. The stars have not fully disappeared, but they are fading, slowly giving space to the coming day. The air is cool and clear. There is a quiet stillness that rests over everything.
Within the grounds of the Shaolin Temple, nothing moves at first glance. The buildings remain silent. The wooden beams hold the night within them. The stone courtyard is empty, untouched, as if waiting. Even the trees surrounding the temple stand without motion, their leaves resting in the calm air. For a few moments, the world feels paused. Time does not seem to move forward. It simply exists. Then, slowly, almost imperceptibly, something begins to change. A faint shift in the air, a subtle awareness that the stillness is about to open. From deep within the temple, a single sound emerges. A bell. Low, resonant, gentle. It does not break the silence. It moves through it. The sound travels slowly across the courtyard, touching the wooden walls, the stone ground, and the quiet paths that wind through the temple. It spreads outward into the trees, reaching the edges of the mountain. The tone is deep but not heavy. It carries a softness, a calm presence that does not demand attention but invites it. The bell fades gradually, not abruptly. It lingers, becoming part of the silence once again. Then, after a long pause, it sounds again. Another tone, steady, even, unhurried. This is the rhythm of the morning. There is no rush, no urgency, only a quiet beginning. Inside the temple, behind closed wooden doors, movement has already begun. Monks rise from their resting places. Their actions are slow and practiced. There is no wasted motion. Each step, each gesture follows a rhythm that has been repeated for many years. They dress in simple robes. The fabric moves softly as they adjust it around their shoulders. The colors are calm, earth tones, muted shades that reflect the simplicity of their surroundings. No bright colors, no distractions, only what is needed. The bell continues, one tone at a time. Between each sound there is space, space to breathe, space to wake, space to become aware of the moment. In one of the inner halls, a monk lights a small candle. The flame flickers gently, casting a soft glow against the wooden walls. The light is warm, but quiet. It does not push away the darkness completely. It simply exists within it. Another monk walks along a narrow corridor. His footsteps are almost silent against the wooden floor. The boards respond with a faint, natural creak, a reminder of the building's age and presence. He moves without hesitation. He knows this path. He has walked it every morning. Outside, the sky begins to change. The deep blue softens. A lighter shade appears near the horizon. The line between night and day becomes less defined. The bell sounds again. Its tone now feels familiar, comforting, like a steady guide marking the passage from rest to wakefulness. In the courtyard, the air begins to move slightly. A soft breeze passes through, brushing against the edges of the buildings. It carries the scent of wood and earth. The trees respond with a gentle rustle, barely noticeable. The temple does not react to the sound. It absorbs it. Everything here accepts what comes, without resistance. More monks begin to gather. They move quietly into a central hall. Their steps remain slow and measured. There is no conversation, no need for words. Each person understands the purpose of this time. They take their places, sitting in stillness. The arrangement is simple and orderly. Rows of quiet figures facing forward. The candlelight reflects softly across their robes. The bell continues its steady rhythm. Now the intervals between each tone feel natural, expected. The sound no longer feels separate from the space. It is part of the temple, part of the morning, part of the breath. Outside, the first light finally touches the highest points of the mountain. A faint glow appears along the edges of the rooftops. The curved lines of the architecture catch the light gently. Nothing is sharp, nothing is sudden. The transition is slow, gradual, just like everything else. A bird calls in the distance, a single soft sound, then silence again. The bell sounds once more. Its tone feels deeper now, as if it carries the weight of the moment. Not heavy, but grounded, steady. Within the hall, the monks remain still. Their breathing is calm, even. Their eyes are either closed or softly focused. There is no tension, no effort, only presence. The bell eventually slows. The pauses between each tone grow longer. The sound becomes less frequent, but each time it returns, it feels complete, as if it has never been absent. The sky continues to brighten. The darkness fades gently into soft morning light. Shadows begin to form across the courtyard, long, quiet shapes that stretch slowly across the stone. The bell sounds for the final time. The tone lingers. It moves outward one last time. Then it fades, and the silence returns. But now, the silence is different. It is no longer the silence of night. It is the silence of morning, alive, awake, present. Within the Shaolin Temple, the day has begun, not with noise, not with urgency, but with a single sound, repeated with patience and care. A sound that does not command, but guides. A sound that does not rush, but allows. The monks remain seated. The light continues to grow. The air becomes slightly warmer, and the temple, surrounded by mountains and quiet trees, moves gently into the rhythm of a new day. There is nothing more to do, nothing more to add. The bell has already said everything that needed to be said. And now, in the calm that follows, the morning continues, slowly, peacefully, exactly as it should.
Meditation at dawn. The first light of morning arrives slowly. It does not rush over the mountains. It unfolds. A soft glow begins to rise behind the distant peaks, gently replacing the deep blue of the night. Within the quiet grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the world is awake, but not yet active. There is no sudden movement, no noise, only a gradual transition from darkness into light. The courtyard remains calm. The stone floor holds a faint trace of coolness from the night. A light mist lingers close to the ground, drifting slowly, almost without direction. The buildings stand in silence, their wooden frames catching the earliest hints of morning. Inside one of the main halls, the monks are already seated. They sit in still rows. Their posture is upright, but not tense. Their hands rest gently in their laps. Their breathing is slow, even, unforced. This is the time of meditation, the time when nothing is required, and yet everything is present.
No one speaks. No instruction. The practice is understood. It has been repeated every morning for years, for generations. The silence in the room is not empty. It is full of awareness, full of quiet attention. Outside, a faint sound passes through the trees. A light breeze. It brushes softly against the temple roofs and moves through the open spaces between the buildings. The sound is gentle, barely noticeable, but it exists. And then it fades. The monks do not react. They do not follow the sound. They simply remain, seated, present, aware. The light continues to grow. It enters the hall slowly, passing through the open doorway. At first, it touches only the floor, a pale, soft reflection. Then, gradually, it rises, reaching the lower edges of the wooden walls. Then the robes of the monks. The light does not disturb them. It simply becomes part of the space. One breath follows another. Inhale. Exhale. There is no effort to control it. No need to change it. The breath moves naturally, like the wind outside, like the passing of time. Thoughts may appear, quietly, softly, but they are not held. They are not followed. They pass, just as the mist moves through the courtyard, appearing and then disappearing. The body remains still, completely still. The legs folded, the spine upright, the shoulders relaxed. There is no movement, not even a shift. Stillness becomes the center. Stillness becomes the practice. In the distance, a bird calls. Just once. A clear, simple sound. It echoes lightly across the mountains. Then it is gone. The silence returns immediately. Undisturbed. Whole. The light grows stronger now. The sky outside has shifted from deep blue to pale gold. The outlines of the mountains become clearer. The trees reveal their shapes. The temple, which rested in shadow only moments ago, now begins to emerge in full form. But inside the hall, nothing changes. The monks remain. Their focus does not move outward. It does not follow the light. It does not follow the world. It remains here, in this moment, in this breath. Time passes, but it does not feel like time. There is no counting, no awareness of minutes, only the steady rhythm of breathing and the quiet presence of being. The floor beneath them is firm, grounded. The air is cool, but comfortable. The scent of wood lingers faintly. Everything is simple. Everything is enough. A single ray of sunlight now reaches deeper into the hall. It stretches across the floor, forming a soft path of light. Dust particles move slowly within it, visible only for a moment, before disappearing again. Nothing rushes. Nothing pushes forward. Even the light takes its time. One of the monks shifts his breath slightly, not in movement, but in depth. A longer inhale, a slower exhale. The rhythm continues, unbroken. Outside, the mist has almost disappeared. The courtyard is now clearly visible. The stone tiles reflect the soft morning light. The trees stand quietly at the edges. Everything feels open, but still calm. Inside the hall, the meditation continues. There is no signal, no bell, no instruction to begin or end. It simply continues as long as it needs to. The practice is not measured by time. It is measured by presence. The mind becomes quieter, not forced into silence, but naturally settling, like water becoming still after movement. There is clarity in this stillness, a simple awareness. Nothing more, nothing less. Another breath, slow, gentle, complete. The world outside continues to awaken, but within the Shaolin Temple, the center remains unchanged, calm, steady, at peace. Eventually, almost without notice, the meditation begins to soften, not end, but shift. The awareness of the body returns slightly, the feeling of the ground, the space of the room, the presence of others. Eyes begin to open slowly, not all at once, not suddenly, one by one, gently. The monks do not rush to stand. They remain seated for a few moments longer, allowing the stillness to remain, to settle deeper. Then slowly they begin to rise. Their movements are careful, controlled, quiet. Robes shift softly as they stand. Feet touch the wooden floor. There is no sound beyond what is natural. No unnecessary motion. No wasted energy. They step forward, one by one, leaving the hall in the same calm manner they entered. The meditation is complete, but its effect remains. It carries into the next moment, into the next action, into the rest of the day. Outside, the sun has now risen fully above the mountains. The temple is bathed in soft golden light. The courtyard is no longer empty. Life begins to move again, slowly, gently, without disturbance. And within each step, each breath, each movement, the stillness of the morning remains.
Morning Kung Fu practice. The sun has now risen above the mountains. Its light spreads gently across the courtyard, touching the stone ground and the wooden walls of the Shaolin Temple. The air is still cool, but no longer cold. The quiet of meditation has softened into a new kind of stillness, a stillness that allows movement. The courtyard, once empty, begins to fill. Not with noise, not with urgency, but with presence. The monks step out from the halls, one by one. Their movements remain slow and controlled. There is no rush to begin. Each step is placed carefully on the stone. Each breath remains steady. They gather in the open space, standing in loose rows, facing the same direction. Their robes move lightly in the morning air. The fabric shifts softly as they settle into position. No one speaks. No commands are given. The practice does not need to be announced. It begins when the body is ready. For a moment, they stand in complete stillness. Feet grounded. Arms relaxed. Eyes forward. Breathing slow. This is the beginning. A quiet preparation. Then, slowly, the first movement appears. A single arm rises. Controlled. Measured. Without tension. Others follow. Not in perfect unison, but in shared rhythm. Each monk moves with awareness. Not to match the others exactly, but to remain present within the same flow. The practice of Kung Fu here is not fast. It is not aggressive. It is not about force. It is about control, balance, precision. The movements unfold gradually. A step forward. A shift of weight. An arm extending outward. Each action connects to the next. Nothing is separate. Nothing is rushed. The sound of movement is soft. Bare feet against stone. Cloth brushing lightly with each motion. Breath moving in and out. There is no striking sound. No impact. Only flow. The sun rises higher. Its light becomes warmer. Shadows form behind each figure, stretching gently across the courtyard. The patterns of movement continue. Repetition. Again and again. The same sequence. The same positions. But never mechanical. Each repetition carries awareness. Each movement is observed, felt, understood. A monk steps forward into a low stance. His body lowers slowly, knees bent, back straight, arms extended with quiet strength. He holds the position, not with strain, but with stability. Then, just as slowly, he rises, transitions into the next form. Another monk turns slightly. His foot pivots against the stone. His arms follow in a smooth arc. The motion is continuous, like water moving around a rock. There is no beginning, no end, only movement. Breathing remains steady. Inhale as the body opens. Exhale as it settles. The rhythm of breath guides the rhythm of motion. Nothing is forced. Nothing is held too tightly. The body moves as it is meant to move. Naturally. Freely.
within discipline. The courtyard feels alive now, not with noise, but with quiet energy. Each figure moving in harmony with the space, with the morning, with the light. In one corner, a younger student practices a simpler sequence. His movements are careful, more deliberate. He watches his own hands, adjusts slightly, repeats, again and again. There is patience in this repetition, no frustration, no urgency to improve quickly, only steady practice. Nearby, an older monk moves with ease. His motions are fluid, effortless, each step placed without hesitation, each movement complete. There is no excess, no wasted energy, only what is needed. The difference between them is not speed, it is depth, the result of many years of quiet repetition. The sun continues to rise. The light now fills the entire courtyard. The cool air begins to warm, but the pace does not change. The practice remains slow, measured, focused. At times, the movements pause. A position is held. Stillness returns for a brief moment. Then, gently, the motion begins again. This balance between stillness and movement is constant. One leads into the other, without separation, without interruption. A bird passes overhead. Its shadow moves briefly across the ground. No one looks up. No one follows it. The attention remains here, in the body, in the breath, in the present moment. The sequences continue. Step, turn, extend, hold, release. Each action clear, each transition smooth. The sound of the environment remains soft. A light breeze moves through the trees. Leaves shift gently. The temple stands quietly around them, watching, holding the space. Time passes, but it does not feel like time. There is no clock, no measure, only the rhythm of practice. Gradually, the movements begin to slow even more. The sequences become shorter, simpler. The final motions are smaller, more contained, as if the energy of the practice is being gathered back inward. A final step, a final extension of the arm. Then stillness. Once again, the monks return to a standing position, feet grounded, arms relaxed at their sides, breathing steady. The courtyard becomes quiet again, not empty, but calm. The energy remains, but it is no longer in motion. It settles within the body, within the mind.
The discipline of the body. The day has fully begun. The light of the morning now fills the grounds of the Shaolin Temple. The cool air remains, but it has softened. The stillness of early meditation has passed. In its place, a different kind of focus begins to form. A focus that moves, a focus that acts. The monks step into the open courtyard once again. Their presence is quiet, unhurried. Each step placed carefully on the stone beneath them. There is no signal to begin. No command is spoken. The practice starts when the body is ready. They stand in silence, feet grounded, arms resting naturally at their sides. Breathing slow, steady. The body is calm, but awake. For a moment, nothing moves. Only breath. Only awareness. Then, slowly, the first motion appears. An arm rises. Controlled. Measured. Without tension. The shoulder remains relaxed. The movement continues through the elbow to the hand. Others follow. Not in perfect unison, but in shared rhythm. Each monk moves within the same flow, guided not by others, but by awareness. The discipline of the body is not about force. It is not about speed. It is not about strength alone. It is about control, balance, precision. The movements unfold gradually. A step forward. A shift of weight. An arm extends outward. Each action connects to the next. Nothing is separate. Nothing is rushed. The sound of movement is soft. Bare feet against stone. Cloth moving gently with each motion. Breath flowing in and out. There is no impact. No striking force. Only flow. The body lowers into a stance. Knees bend slowly. The spine remains straight. The weight settles evenly. The position is held. Not with strain, but with stability. Muscles engage. Quietly. Without excess. Then,
Just as slowly, the body rises, transitions into the next form. A turn begins. The foot pivots against the ground. The hips follow. Then the shoulders. Then the arms. Everything moves as one. Continuous. Unbroken. Like water adjusting to its path. There is no beginning. No end. Only movement. Breathing remains steady. Inhale as the body opens. Exhale as it settles. The rhythm of breath guides the rhythm of motion. Nothing is forced. Nothing is held too tightly. The body moves as it is meant to move. Naturally. Freely. Within discipline. The courtyard feels alive. Not with noise, but with quiet energy. Each figure moving with intention, with awareness, with control. In one area, a younger student practices a simpler sequence. His movements are careful, more deliberate. He watches his own hands, adjusts slightly, repeats. Again and again. There is patience in the repetition. No frustration. No urgency to improve quickly. Only steady practice. Nearby, an older monk moves with ease. His motions are fluid, effortless. Each step placed without hesitation. Each movement complete. There is no excess. No wasted energy. Only what is needed. The difference is not strength, not speed. It is depth. The result of years of quiet repetition. The sequences continue. Step. Turn. Extend. Hold. Release. Each action clear. Each transition smooth. Time begins to fade. There is no awareness of minutes passing. Only the rhythm of movement. The repetition becomes familiar, yet never mechanical. Each motion is observed, felt, refined. A slight adjustment of the hand, A small correction in balance. A deeper awareness of posture. The body learns.
The midday meal and quiet rest. The sun has now reached its highest point in the sky. Its light falls directly over the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple. The morning has passed. The movement of practice, the rhythm of work, have slowly come to a pause. The air feels warmer now. The shadows are shorter. Everything rests in a quiet balance between effort and stillness. This is the time of the midday meal. The monks begin to move toward the dining hall. Their steps remain slow, measured. There is no urgency, no rush to arrive. The path is familiar, walked many times before. Each step placed with the same awareness as in practice. The doors of the hall open quietly. Inside, the space is simple, clean, ordered. Low wooden tables are arranged in straight lines, each place prepared with care. Nothing is out of alignment. Nothing is unnecessary. The monks enter one by one. They take their places in silence, lowering themselves slowly, sitting with straight backs, relaxed shoulders, hands resting gently before them. The room fills, not with sound, but with presence. No one speaks. No instruction is given. The rhythm of the moment is already understood. The meal is brought forward. Simple bowls, carefully prepared. Rice, vegetables, soup. Nothing excessive, nothing elaborate, only what is needed. Each monk receives his portion. The bowls are placed gently, without noise, without interruption. For a moment, everything is still. The food rests before them, warm, quiet. Then, slowly, the meal begins. Each movement is calm. A hand lifts. A bowl is held. Food is taken in small portions. No sudden motion. No distraction. Eating here is not hurried. It is not casual. It is a practice. Each bite is observed. The texture, the warmth, the simple taste. Nothing is ignored. Nothing is rushed. The body receives what it needs. The mind remains present. There is no conversation. Only the soft, natural sounds of the meal. The quiet movement of hands. The gentle placing of bowls. The steady rhythm of breathing. The atmosphere remains calm, balanced, undisturbed. Outside, the world continues. The wind moves lightly. Leaves shift gently in the trees. But inside the hall, everything is contained, still, focused. Each monk eats at his own pace. No one finishes too quickly. No one delays without reason. The rhythm is individual, yet shared. A quiet harmony. The meal continues. Simple. Complete.
When the final bite is taken, there is no sudden movement, no immediate rising. The bowls are placed down gently. The hands return to rest. For a moment, stillness remains. The body settles. The breath continues slow and even. Then, one by one, the monks begin to move. The bowls are gathered carefully, carried to their proper place. Each action completed with attention. Nothing is left behind. Nothing is done without care. The hall gradually empties, returning to quiet, returning to stillness. The meal has ended, but the calm it created remains. Now the time of rest begins. The monks move toward their rooms, or to quiet areas within the temple. The pace slows even more. The energy of the day softens. The body begins to release effort. Inside a simple room, a monk prepares to rest. There is no excess, no distraction, only space. He lowers himself gently. The body relaxes. The breath deepens. There is no struggle to sleep, no effort to force rest. It comes naturally. A quiet transition from movement to stillness. In another space, a monk sits quietly, not sleeping, but resting in awareness. His eyes closed, his posture relaxed. The breath remains slow, even. This too is rest. Not absence, but calm presence. Throughout the temple, the same quiet rhythm unfolds. Some rest deeply, others remain still, but all share the same calm state. The body recovers. The mind clears. The breath becomes steady. Time passes gently, without notice, without interruption. This pause in the day is not empty. It is necessary. A balance to the effort of practice. A moment of restoration. Without it, the rhythm would be incomplete. Gradually, the time of rest begins to pass. The body reawakens naturally. Not suddenly, but slowly. The breath deepens. The awareness returns. Movement begins again. Gentle, unforced. A monk sits up quietly. His posture returns. His focus remains calm. There is no rush to stand, no urgency to move, only a gradual return. From rest to awareness. Across the temple, the same quiet transition occurs. The monks begin to rise. One by one, the stillness begins to shift. Not broken, but transformed. The day is not over. It continues. With the same steady rhythm, the same quiet discipline. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the cycle moves forward once more. From nourishment to rest to gentle awakening. The body restored, the mind clear, the breath steady, ready to continue. And as the afternoon slowly unfolds, the calm remains, deep, balanced, and undisturbed.
Afternoon stillness in the courtyard. The day has softened. The brightness of midday begins to fade into a quieter light. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, a deep stillness slowly takes its place. The movement of the morning has passed. The effort of training, the rhythm of work, the calm of rest, have all settled into silence. Now there is no task to complete, no movement required, only stillness. The courtyard lies open beneath the sky. The stone ground holds the warmth of the sun, but the air has begun to cool slightly. A gentle balance between warmth and calm. The monks return quietly to this open space. Their steps are slow, measured. There is no direction given, no arrangement required. Each one finds a place naturally. Some sit along the edges of the courtyard. Others remain standing for a moment before lowering themselves gently to the ground. The movements are soft, unhurried. Nothing disturbs the quiet. They settle into stillness. Back straight, shoulders relaxed, hands resting lightly, the body at ease, the breath slow and steady. No one speaks. There is no need. The silence is complete. Not empty, but full. The sound of the world is distant here. Faint, softened by the surrounding walls of the temple. A light breeze passes through the courtyard. It moves gently across the stone, through the open space, touching robes and skin. Without resistance, leaves shift quietly in nearby trees. A soft, natural movement. Then stillness returns again. The light continues to change. The sun lowers slightly in the sky. Its glow becomes warmer, softer. Shadows begin to stretch across the courtyard floor. Long and quiet. The edges of the building soften in the light. Everything feels slower, more distant, more calm. The monks remain still. Their eyes may be open or gently lowered. There is no effort to focus, no attempt to control thought. Only awareness. Simple, present. The breath moves naturally, in and out. No change, no force. The body remains steady, balanced, at ease. Time begins to lose its shape. There is no sense of minutes passing, no awareness of duration. Only the moment itself. Still, continuous, unbroken. A bird crosses the sky above the courtyard. Its shadow passes briefly across the stone. No one follows it. No one reacts. The moment appears, then disappears. Like everything else. The air feels clearer now, lighter. Each breath deeper, but effortless. The body continues to rest. Not asleep, but quiet, completely at ease.
In one corner of the courtyard, a monk adjusts his posture slightly. A small movement, barely visible. Then stillness returns again. Nothing is held too tightly. Nothing is forced to remain. The body is allowed to settle naturally. The mind follows. Thoughts may appear, but they do not remain. They pass quietly, like clouds moving across a wide sky. There is no need to follow them, no need to hold them. They fade on their own. The courtyard feels vast, even within its walls. Open, calm, undisturbed. The stillness deepens, not only around the monks, but within them. A quiet presence, steady, unchanging. The warmth of the stone beneath them slowly fades, replaced by a cooler touch. The shift is gentle, barely noticed, but present. The light continues to soften. Gold begins to turn into softer tones. The brightness of the day no longer dominates the space. Everything becomes more balanced, more even, more calm. The temple itself seems to rest. The building stands silent. The pathways empty. The air still. Nothing asks for attention. Nothing interrupts the moment. The monks remain. Quiet. Present. Still. This stillness is not inactivity. It is not absence. It is a form of awareness. A deep listening. To the body. To the breath. To the space around them. There is no separation. The courtyard. The air. The sound. And the stillness all exist together in one continuous moment. Time continues, but it is no longer felt. The need to move forward disappears. There is nowhere to go, nothing to reach. Only this moment, as it is. Complete. Gradually, a subtle shift begins. Not a sound, not a signal, just a quiet change in presence. The stillness remains, but the body begins to awaken slightly. A deeper breath, a small movement of the hands. The awareness expands outward once more. Slowly, gently, the monks begin to rise. One by one. There is no rush. No sudden motion. Each movement is calm, controlled, balanced. The stillness does not leave them. It moves with them, carried within. The courtyard remains quiet, unchanged. The light continues its slow transition toward evening. Shadows stretch further. The air cools slightly more. The moment of stillness has passed, but its presence remains. within the body, within the mind, within the breath. And as the monks begin to move once more, the rhythm of the day continues, gently, without interruption, from stillness in
The day continues quietly. The sun moves slowly across the sky, its light beginning to soften as it leans toward the late afternoon. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the rhythm of life continues without interruption. There is no sharp division between one part of the day and another. Only a gradual flow from practice to rest to work again. The light becomes warmer. The air begins to cool. And once more, the monks return to their daily responsibilities. Work here is not something separate. It is not an interruption. It is part of the path. Each movement carries the same attention as meditation. Each task holds the same quiet purpose. The monks move across the temple grounds with steady steps, measured, unhurried. Each person already knows what must be done. There is no need for instruction. The routine is familiar, repeated many times before, and it will be repeated again. In the gardens, the light of the late afternoon stretches into long shadows across the soil. The plants rest quietly in their rows, leaves still, stems upright. Some monks return here to continue their care. One kneels beside a patch of vegetables. His hands move slowly through the earth. He loosens the soil around the roots. Gently, without force. The ground yields easily beneath his touch. Another monk inspects the leaves. He lifts one slightly, turns it, observes its surface, looking for small changes. A sign of dryness, a mark of imbalance. If something requires attention, it is given without hesitation, without frustration. The work remains patient, consistent. There is no rush to complete it. Only
only presence. Nearby, water is carried in simple containers. A monk walks carefully along the narrow path between the rows, each step placed with awareness. The water moves gently within the bucket. He pauses, then pours slowly at the base of each plant. The soil darkens, absorbing what it needs. Nothing more, nothing wasted. Elsewhere, a different rhythm unfolds. Near the storage areas, wood is stacked in quiet order, each piece placed carefully, balanced, aligned. A monk bends to lift a bundle. The weight is felt, but his movement remains controlled. He rises slowly, carrying the wood with steady posture. No strain appears in his expression. No sudden motion. He walks to the storage wall, places the bundle down, adjusts it slightly until it fits perfectly within the stack. Then he returns. Again and again. The repetition continues. Simple, unbroken. Nearby, sacks of grain are moved, lifted, carried, set down. Each movement follows the same quiet pattern. There is no wasted effort, no unnecessary force, only steady action. Inside the temple buildings, the work continues in silence. A monk walks along a wooden corridor. A cloth rests in his hand. He wipes the surface slowly, following the natural grain of the wood. The texture beneath his hand is smooth, worn gently by time. The cloth moves again and again, each pass removing a thin layer of dust, restoring clarity, restoring order. Another monk adjusts a sliding door. He opens it slowly, closes it gently, listening, feeling the movement along its track. If something is not aligned, he corrects it. A small shift, a quiet adjustment, until the motion becomes smooth once more. The temple is filled with soft, repetitive sounds. The brushing of cloth, the placing of wood, the quiet rhythm of footsteps. None of these sounds dominate. None disturb the calm. They exist together, forming a steady background, a quiet rhythm of work. Time passes without urgency. There is no sense of rushing towards an end, only continuation, only presence. The monks rarely speak. Words are not needed. Understanding moves.
The work of the day begins to fade. The energy of movement and effort slowly settles into quiet. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, a different kind of motion begins. Not work, not training, but walking. Simple, unhurried, a return to the mountain. The monks move quietly beyond the wooden gates. Their steps are light, barely disturbing the earth beneath them. The stone paths of the temple give way to narrow trails, winding gently upward into the surrounding mountains. The air feels different here, cooler, fresher, carrying the scent of trees and distant water. No one speaks. There is no need. The path itself becomes the guide. Each step is placed with care. Heel, then toe. Slow, balanced. The ground is uneven. Small stones, exposed roots. But there is no hesitation. The body adjusts naturally. The pace remains steady. Not fast, not slow, only consistent. The sound of footsteps is soft, a quiet rhythm against the earth. Tall trees rise on either side of the path, their trunks straight and silent, their branches reaching upward into the fading light. Leaves move gently in the evening breeze. A soft rustling fills the air. Light filters through the canopy, breaking into scattered patterns across the ground. The colors begin to shift. Green becomes deeper. Shadows grow longer. Everything feels slower, more distant, more still. The breath begins to follow the rhythm of the steps. Inhale, step, exhale, step. No effort is required. The body finds its own pace. The mind begins to settle. Thoughts become fewer, lighter, less defined. There is no destination to reach, only the act of walking. The mountain is not silent, but its sounds are gentle, subtle. A bird calls from somewhere high in the trees, a distant echo, fading quickly. The wind moves softly through the leaves, a steady whisper. At times the faint sound of water can be heard, a stream moving over stones, hidden from view, yet present. Each sound appears, then disappears, without interruption. Walking here is not exercise. It is awareness. Each step is observed, each movement felt. The contact between foot and ground, the shift of balance, the movement of breath. Nothing is ignored. Nothing is rushed. The path itself becomes a teacher, guiding attention back to the present. Again and again,
The sun continues its slow descent. The light grows softer, warmer, then begins to fade. The forest darkens gently. Shadows blend together. Edges soften. But the walking continues. Steady, unbroken. The eyes adjust. The body remains aware. There is no fear in the dimming light, only acceptance. Though the monks walk along the same path, each one is alone in his awareness. No conversation, no need to match another's pace. Some move slightly ahead, others behind. But the distance does not matter. The connection is quiet, shared. Each person moves within his own rhythm, yet remains part of the whole. The air grows cooler as the path rises. It moves gently across the skin, refreshing, clear. Breathing becomes deeper, easier. The body feels lighter, more open. The tension of the day fades completely, leaving only calm. At times the walking pauses. A monk stops along the path, not from fatigue, but for stillness. He stands quietly, looking out through the trees, toward the distant mountains, layer upon layer, fading into the horizon. The sky above shifts in color, from gold to soft blue, to the first hints of evening gray. There is nothing to say, nothing to do, only to observe. A deeper quiet begins to form, not only around them, but within. The space between thoughts grows wider. The need to move forward fades. Even while walking continues, there is a sense of stillness, as if the body moves, but the mind rests. The path becomes softer underfoot. The earth slightly cooler now, holding the last warmth of the day. Each step connects gently with the ground, not pressing, not resisting, only touching and releasing. The rhythm continues, unbroken, natural, effortless. After some time, the movement begins to shift. The path curves. The direction changes. Without signal, the monks begin to walk back. The same trail, now more familiar, yet different in the fading light. The trees appear darker, the shadows deeper, the sounds more distant. Each step remains careful, balanced. The rhythm continues, unchanged. Ahead, the temple waits, hidden among the trees, quiet, still. As they descend, the light continues to fade. The forest grows darker, but not heavy, not overwhelming, only softer, more still. The sounds of the day have quieted. The air feels calm, resting. The first signs of night begin to appear. A deeper silence settles across the mountain. The breeze becomes lighter. The leaves move less. Even the distant sounds begin to fade. The world seems to pause, holding a quiet balance between day and night. Soon, the outline of the Shaolin Temple becomes visible once more. The wooden structures, the tiled roofs, the familiar stone paths. A lantern glows faintly near the entrance, its light soft and steady, a quiet point of return. The monks approach slowly, their steps unchanged, their breathing calm. They pass through the gates without sound, re-entering the stillness of the temple grounds. The walking comes to a natural end, not marked by time, but by completion. The body is relaxed. The breath is steady. The mind is clear. Nothing more is needed. The path has done its work. Yet something remains. A quiet presence. A deeper awareness carried from the mountain. Though the walking has stopped, its effect continues. In the body, in the breath, in the stillness of the mind. The mountain is no longer outside. It is within, carried gently into the evening. And as night begins to settle over the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the rhythm of the day prepares to close. Movement fades into stillness once more. The air cools. The light softens. The temple grows quiet. And everything returns, slowly, gently, to calm.
The day is slowly coming to an end. The light above the mountains begins to soften. It turns warmer, more gentle, as it settles over the quiet roofs of the Shaolin Temple. The energy of the day fades. The movements of training, walking, and work come to rest. What remains now is a quieter kind of discipline, a discipline of the mind. The monks begin to move toward the study hall. Their steps are steady, familiar. The same paths they have walked many times before now feel even quieter in the fading light. No one speaks. There is no need for instruction. The rhythm of the temple carries them naturally from one part of the day to the next. The wooden doors of the hall slide open without sound. Inside, the room is simple and carefully ordered. Tatami mats cover the floor, their woven texture soft beneath the knees. Low wooden desks are arranged in straight, even rows. Each place has been prepared with quiet precision. Nothing is out of alignment. Nothing is unnecessary. The monks enter one by one. They lower themselves into position slowly, kneeling with straight backs and relaxed shoulders. Their hands rest gently on their thighs. Their breathing remains calm and steady. As each monk settles into place, the room fills, not with noise, but with presence. Soon, the hall becomes completely still. The air is cool, carrying the faint scent of paper and ink. The outside world feels distant. Even the sounds of the evening seem softened here, as if the walls themselves are holding the silence in place. In front of each monk lies a text. Some are bound in simple covers, worn by years of careful use. Others are loose sheets stacked neatly and aligned with care. The pages hold teachings that have been passed down through generations, words that have been read, copied, and remembered for centuries. A monk reaches forward. He lifts the first page and turns it slowly. The movement is quiet, controlled, deliberate. Around the room, the same motion follows. Pages are turned gently, one after another, creating a soft and almost imperceptible rhythm. The study begins in silence. Eyes move across the lines of text. Each word is read carefully. There is no rush to move forward. Each sentence is allowed to settle before the next begins. The teachings are not meant to be consumed quickly. They are meant to be absorbed. Time begins to slow. The mind, once active with movement and effort, now becomes focused and still. Thoughts become fewer. Attention becomes sharper. The act of reading transforms into a quiet form of meditation. After some time, a voice begins to rise. It is low, steady, and calm. A single monk recites a passage. His voice moves at an even pace, balanced without force. Gradually, others join. Their voices blend together into a soft, unified sound. The room fills with a gentle rhythm of spoken words. Each phrase flows into the next. Each pause feels natural. Nothing is forced. The recitation continues. The same passage is repeated again and again, not for memorization alone, but for understanding. With each repetition, the words become more familiar. Their meaning deepens, quietly, naturally. A simple line can hold many layers. Each monk reflects in silence as the words pass through the mind. There is no discussion, no debate. Understanding grows slowly, like a seed placed in still soil. In another part of the hall, a different kind of study begins. A monk prepares his inkstone. He adds a small amount of water and begins to grind the ink in slow, circular motions. The movement is steady, controlled, patient. As the ink darkens, he lifts his brush. He dips it carefully and brings it to the paper. The first stroke is placed with precision. The brush moves smoothly, guided by a steady hand and a clear mind. Each character is written with care. The lines are not rushed, the pressure is controlled. The motion is continuous, balanced, deliberate. Writing becomes more than a task. It becomes a reflection of the mind itself. A steady mind creates steady lines. A distracted mind reveals itself in uneven strokes. For this reason, writing is also a form of discipline. Each movement trains attention. Each repetition refines control. The hall remains quiet. The voices of recitation continue softly in the background. The sound of the brush moving across paper blends gently with the rhythm of speech. Together, they create a calm and steady atmosphere. At the front of the room, a teacher sits. He observes without interruption. His presence is quiet but attentive. He watches posture, breathing, focus. When guidance is needed, it is given softly. A few words at the right moment are enough. There is no pressure to perform, no urgency to complete a lesson. If a passage requires more time, it is given. If a character must be written again, it is repeated. Learning here is not measured by speed, but by depth. As the evening continues, the light begins to change. The sun lowers behind the mountains. The room becomes dimmer. Shadows stretch slowly across the floor. A lantern is lit, casting a warm, steady glow. The new light does not disturb the calm, it simply replaces the old. The study continues. Gradually, the voices begin to soften, the recitation slows. The final repetition fades into silence. The pages are turned one last time, then closed. Each text is handled with care and returned to its place. Everything remains ordered. Everything remains balanced. The monks stay seated for a moment longer. No one moves. The teachings are no longer being read, but they remain present, quietly settled within the mind. Breathing remains slow, the body remains still. Then, gently, the moment comes to an end. One by one, the monks rise. Their movements are calm, controlled, unhurried. They step away from their places and move toward the doors. The hall begins to empty just as quietly as it was filled. Soon, the room returns to stillness. Outside, evening has fully arrived. The air is cooler now. The sky has darkened. The temple rests in silence once again. Within the peaceful rhythm of the Shaolin Temple, the final part of the day comes to a close. The body has moved, the mind has studied, the spirit has settled. And as night gently takes its place, everything returns to a deep, steady, lasting calm. The lantern glows softly. The halls grow quiet. And the temple rests, still, balanced, and undisturbed. The Masters of Shaolin. A quiet presence remains within the temple. The lanterns still glow softly along the wooden corridors of the Shaolin Temple. Their light is warm, steady, unmoving. Most of the monks have withdrawn into silence. The day has ended for them. But for a few, the rhythm continues. These are the masters. They move differently. Not slower, not faster, but with a kind of certainty that comes from many years of repetition. Their steps carry no hesitation. Their posture does not shift. Their breathing remains unchanged no matter the hour. They have walked this path for a long time, long enough that the path now exists within them. In a quiet courtyard away from the main halls, one master stands alone. The night air is cool. A faint breeze moves through the trees. The leaves shift softly in the darkness. He does not react. His attention is inward. He stands with his feet grounded against the stone. His arms rest naturally at his sides. There is no preparation, no signal to begin. And yet, the practice is already there. A slow movement begins. His arm rises. Not with effort, but with control. The motion is smooth, continuous, complete. There is no wasted energy, no extra movement. Each action exists exactly as it should. He steps forward. The shift of weight is subtle, balanced. His body lowers slightly, then rises again. The movement is quiet, almost invisible in the dim light. This is not training for strength. It is not training for speed. It is refinement. A practice repeated so many times that nothing unnecessary remains. Nearby, another master sits beneath a wooden overhang. A small lantern rests beside him. Its light reveals a simple table, an inkstone, a brush, and a sheet of paper. He prepares the ink slowly. The motion is familiar, steady. There is no need to look closely. The hands remember. He lifts the brush, pauses for a moment, then begins to write. Each stroke is deliberate. The brush moves with quiet precision. The lines form naturally. There is no correction, no hesitation. The movement reflects a mind that is clear and settled. For the masters, there is no separation between practice and daily life. Walking is practice. Breathing is practice. Writing is practice. Even stillness is practice. Inside one of the halls, a small group of younger monks sits in silence. Before them stands an older master. He does not speak immediately. He simply stands, observing. The students remain still, waiting. Not with impatience, but with attention. When he begins to speak, his voice is low, calm, measured. He does not use many words. Each sentence is short, clear. He speaks of discipline, of awareness, of balance. But he does not explain everything. Some understanding must come with time. The students listen closely, not only to the words, but to the pauses between them. Because sometimes the silence carries more meaning than the voice. One student shifts slightly. The master notices, but he does not correct him immediately.
Instead, he allows the moment to pass. Then, gently, he demonstrates a posture, a simple adjustment. The student follows. The correction is small, but precise. This is how teaching happens here. Not through long explanations, but through observation, through repetition, through quiet guidance. Outside, the night deepens. The sky is dark. The stars are faint behind the mountain mist. The temple remains still, but within that stillness, there is life. A master walks along a narrow path between the buildings. His steps are steady. He does not look around. He does not pause. The path is known. Each stone beneath his feet familiar. He passes by the courtyard, by the training grounds, by the silent halls. Everything is at rest, and yet everything continues. Because for the masters, the practice never ends. It does not begin in the morning. It does not end at night. It is constant, carried in every movement, in every breath, in every moment of awareness. Years of repetition have shaped them, not only their bodies, but their minds. Their reactions are calm. Their focus is steady. They do not rush. They do not resist. They move with the rhythm of the world around them, like water, adapting without effort, like the wind, present but unseen. Back in the quiet courtyard, the first master completes his final movement. His arms return slowly to his sides. He stands still, breathing steady. There is no signal that the practice has ended. It simply becomes stillness, the same stillness from which it began. He turns and walks away, not with pride, not with exhaustion, but with the same calm presence. The lanterns continue to glow softly. The temple remains quiet. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the masters continue their path, unseen by many, unheard by most, but always present, guiding, observing, refining. And as the night deepens, their discipline remains steady, silent, and without end.
Evening training and sunset. The day begins to lean toward its final light. The sun lowers slowly behind the mountains surrounding the Shaolin Temple. Its glow softens, spreading long shadows across the stone courtyards and wooden halls. The warmth of the afternoon fades into a cooler, quieter air. The rhythm of the temple does not stop. It changes. The movements of the day become slower, more deliberate. The monks gather once again in the courtyard, not with urgency, not with noise, but with quiet intention. Their steps echo softly against the stone ground. The same space that held the energy of the morning now feels different. The light has changed, the air has changed, and with it, the practice changes too. They take their places, standing in loose rows, facing forward. The sky above them is no longer bright blue. It begins to carry shades of gold, then orange, then a deeper red. The mountains stand in silhouette, dark and still against the fading light. For a moment, nothing moves. The monks stand in complete stillness, feet grounded, arms relaxed, breathing steady. The evening practice begins not with motion, but with awareness. A slow inhale, a gentle exhale, The body settles, the mind clears. Then, gradually, movement begins. An arm rises, slowly, with control. Another follows. The motion spreads through the group, not perfectly synchronized, but unified in rhythm. Each monk moves with awareness, guided not by speed, but by presence. The practice is quieter now than in the morning. The energy is different, less about awakening the body, more about refining it. Each step is placed carefully. A shift of weight, a controlled turn, an extension of the arm. The movements flow into one another without interruption. There is no sharpness, no force, only continuity. The sound of the courtyard is soft, bare feet brushing lightly against stone, cloth moving gently with each motion, breath flowing in and out. The world beyond the temple feels distant. Within these walls, only the rhythm of practice remains. The sun continues to lower. Its light becomes warmer, deeper. Long shadows stretch across the ground, moving slowly with the fading day. The figures of the monks become silhouettes, their forms outlined by the last light of the sun. A monk steps forward into a low stance. His body lowers with control. His balance remains steady. He holds the position without strain. Then, just as slowly, he rises. The transition is smooth, effortless. Nearby, another monk turns. His foot pivots gently against the stone. His arms follow in a soft arc. The motion feels continuous, like water flowing around a stone. There is no beginning, no end, only movement. Breathing remains steady throughout. Each inhale opens the body. Each exhale settles it. The rhythm of breath guides the rhythm of motion. Nothing is forced. Nothing is held too tightly. The body moves naturally, within discipline. The sky deepens in color. The gold fades into orange. The orange fades into red. Soon, hints of purple begin to appear at the edges of the horizon. The air grows cooler. A light breeze moves through the courtyard. It passes through the trees, carrying the faint sound of leaves shifting softly. The robes of the monks respond gently, moving with the wind, but never breaking the flow of practice. Time passes, but it is not measured. There is no clock, no signal, only repetition. Again and again. The same sequence unfolds. The same movements return. But each repetition carries awareness. Each movement is felt, understood, refined. In one corner, a younger student practices more carefully. His movements are slower, more deliberate. He watches his own hands, adjusts slightly, repeats the motion again and again. There is no frustration, only patience. Nearby, an older monk moves with ease. His body flows from one position to another without hesitation. Each movement is complete. Nothing is added, nothing is missing. The difference is not speed, it is depth. The result of years of quiet repetition. The sun reaches the edge of the mountains. Its final light spreads across the courtyard in a soft, fading glow. For a brief moment, everything is touched by that light. The stone, the wood, the still figures in motion. Then, slowly, the sun disappears. The light softens even more. The courtyard begins to dim, but the practice continues, unchanged, uninterrupted. The transition from day to night is gradual. A lantern is lit near the edge of the courtyard. Its warm glow replaces the fading sunlight. The shadows shift again, becoming softer, closer, more contained. The movements begin to slow, almost without notice. The sequences grow shorter, simpler, more contained.
as if the energy of the practice is being gathered inward. A final step, a final extension of the arm, a final turn. Then, stillness returns. The monks stand quietly once again, feet grounded, arms at rest, breathing steady. The courtyard becomes silent, not empty, but calm. The energy remains, but it is no longer in motion. It settles within the body, within the mind. There is no signal that the practice has ended. It simply comes to a natural close. One by one, the monks begin to move away. Their steps are slow, measured. They leave the courtyard in silence, returning to the inner halls of the temple. The lantern light flickers gently. The sky above is now dark. Only a faint glow remains where the sun once was. The mountains stand in stillness. The trees rest. The air is cool and quiet. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the final movement of the day has passed. The body has been trained. The breath has been guided. The mind has been centered. And as the evening settles fully into night, everything returns to stillness, calm, balanced, and undisturbed. The temple at dusk. The final light of the day begins to fade. The sky above the mountains darkens slowly, shifting from deep orange to soft shades of purple and blue. The last traces of sunlight rest lightly over the rooftops of the Shaolin Temple, then begin to disappear. Dusk settles gently over the temple. The energy of the day has passed. The movement has slowed. What remains is a quiet transition, the space between day and night. The courtyards that once held the steady rhythm of practice now stand open and still. The stone ground, warmed by the sun just moments ago, begins to cool beneath the evening air. The long shadows that stretched across the temple slowly dissolve into darkness. The monks move quietly through the fading light. Their tasks are nearly complete. Some walk along the wooden corridors, their steps soft and measured. Others pause briefly in the open spaces, looking toward the mountains as the last light disappears. No words are exchanged. The silence feels natural, as if the entire temple is breathing more slowly. A faint breeze moves through the trees. Leaves shift gently, creating a soft, continuous sound that fills the quiet spaces between the buildings. The air carries a coolness that was not present during the day. It settles against the skin, light and calm. Lanterns begin to appear. One by one, they are lit along the paths and near the entrances of the halls. Their warm glow replaces the fading sunlight. The light is soft, contained, and steady. It does not disturb the stillness. It becomes part of it. The temple changes with this light. The details of the buildings become softer. Edges blur into shadow. The bright clarity of the day is replaced by a more gentle, diffused presence. The wooden walls, the tiled roofs, the stone pathways all seem to rest within the dim glow. A monk walks slowly across the courtyard. His figure moves through the lantern light, casting a long, quiet shadow behind him. His posture remains upright. His steps remain even. There is no urgency in his movement. The day has ended, but his awareness has not. Nearby, another monk pauses beside a wooden railing. He looks out toward the distant mountains. The shapes are darker now, blending into the sky. The horizon is no longer clear. It fades into a single, quiet tone. There is nothing to observe, and yet everything is present. The mind does not search for detail.
it rests. The sound of the temple at dusk is different. There are no footsteps in haste, no voices calling out, only soft occasional movements, the soft shift of fabric, the faint creak of wood, the distant sound of leaves. These small sounds become more noticeable as the world grows quieter. In one of the inner courtyards, a few monks sit in silence. They are not gathered for instruction. They are not engaged in formal practice. They simply sit. Their bodies are still, their breathing slow and steady. The fading light rests gently across their robes. The moment does not need to be filled. It exists on its own. The transition into night is not sudden here. It is gradual, unforced, like a breath that slowly releases. The lanterns continue to glow. Their light reflects softly against the wooden surfaces, creating small areas of warmth within the growing darkness. The spaces between them remain shadowed, deep and calm. A monk moves along a narrow path between the buildings. The ground beneath his feet is familiar. Each step follows the natural rhythm he has carried throughout the day. There is no change in his pace, no change in his posture. Only the environment around him has shifted. He passes by the training grounds, now empty. The space that held movement, repetition, and focus during the day now rests in complete stillness. The memory of motion lingers, but it no longer exists. He continues toward the inner halls. The doors remain slightly open. Inside, the lantern light reveals quiet, ordered spaces. Mats are aligned. Objects are placed carefully. Nothing is left disturbed. The discipline of the day carries into the stillness of the evening. Nothing is abandoned. Nothing is forgotten. Everything returns to its place. As the sky darkens further, the first signs of night appear. The deep blue above begins to settle into black. The outlines of the mountains fade almost completely. The temple becomes a quiet presence within the landscape, not separate from it, but part of it. The breeze softens. The air grows cooler. The sounds of the world continue to fade. Within the temple, movement becomes even more minimal. Doors close gently. Footsteps become less frequent. The spaces grow still. In one final courtyard, a lantern flickers slightly. Its flame moves gently with the air. The light shifts, then steadies again. The surrounding darkness does not press in. It simply exists alongside the light, balanced. The monks begin to withdraw fully into the inner halls. The day is complete. The work has been done. The practice has been carried out. Now the temple rests, not in emptiness, but in quiet completion. The rhythm of the day has come to its natural end. In the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, dusk settles fully into night. The lanterns remain. The halls are silent. The courtyards are still. And the entire temple breathes slowly, held between the memory of the day and the calm of the night to come. Everything softens. Everything quiets. Everything returns to stillness.
Night has fully arrived. The sky above the mountains is dark and quiet. The last traces of color have disappeared. Only stillness remains over the grounds of the Shaolin Temple. The temple rests in silence. The courtyards are empty. The pathways are still. The air is cool and gentle, moving softly between the wooden halls. Lanterns glow along the corridors. Their light is warm, steady, contained.
It does not reach far. It does not disturb the darkness. It simply exists within it, a quiet balance between light and shadow. Inside the meditation hall, a soft presence begins to gather. The doors are partially open. The lantern light reaches just inside, touching the floor and the edges of the room. Beyond that, the space is dim, still, undisturbed. The monks enter slowly, one by one. Their steps are soft against the floor. There is no sound beyond the gentle movement of fabric, no voices, no signal to begin. Each monk moves to his place, then lowers himself into position, kneeling, back straight, shoulders relaxed, hands resting gently, eyes soft or closed. The room fills gradually, not with noise, but with presence. When all are seated, nothing changes, no instruction is given, no moment is marked as the beginning. The meditation is already there. Breathing continues, slow, steady, natural. The body settles deeper into stillness. The mind begins to quiet. Outside, the night remains calm. A faint breeze moves through the trees. Leaves shift gently in the darkness. The sound is soft, distant, almost fading into silence. Inside the hall, nothing moves. The monks remain still, not rigid, not tense, but balanced, comfortable within stillness. Time begins to lose its shape. There is no sense of passing minutes, no sense of waiting, only the steady rhythm of breath. Inhale, exhale. The lantern light flickers slightly, a small movement of flame. Then it steadies again. Its glow rests quietly against the wooden surfaces, creating soft shadows that do not distract but deepen the calm. The meditation continues. Thoughts may appear, then fade, without resistance, without attachment. The mind does not follow them. It returns, gently, to stillness. A monk adjusts his posture slightly. The movement is slow, controlled. Then stillness returns again. Nothing is forced. Nothing is held too tightly. The body rests naturally. The breath flows freely. The silence deepens. It becomes something more than the absence of sound. It becomes a presence, a quiet space where everything settles. The outside world feels far away, distant, unimportant in this moment. Within these walls, there is only awareness, only presence. The lanterns continue to glow. Their light marks the edges of the space. Beyond that, darkness remains soft and complete. Time passes, but it is not measured. There is no need to know how long. The meditation unfolds naturally, like a slow, steady current, carrying the mind into deeper calm. A sense of weight begins to fade. The body feels lighter. The breath feels softer. The space between thoughts grows wider. Stillness expands, gently, without effort. A distant sound appears, perhaps the wind, perhaps a shifting branch. It rises briefly, then disappears again. The silence remains unbroken. The monks do not react. Their attention stays inward, anchored, calm. In one corner of the hall, a master sits among them. His posture is unchanged, his breathing steady, his presence quiet but deep. He does not lead, he does not guide. He simply exists within the same stillness, the same awareness.
This is the practice. Not something to achieve, not something to reach, but something to return to, again and again. As the night deepens, the air grows cooler. The lantern light feels warmer in contrast. A soft balance remains between warmth and stillness. Gradually, without signal, the meditation begins to come to a close. Not suddenly, not clearly marked, but slowly, like the fading of a distant sound. A breath becomes slightly deeper. The body becomes more aware. The space around returns gently. The monks remain seated for a moment longer, allowing the stillness to settle, to remain. Then, one by one, they open their eyes. There is no rush to move, no break in the calm. They rise slowly, carefully, each movement controlled. The hall remains quiet. The lanterns continue to glow. The meditation does not end. It continues within them, in their breathing, in their steps, in their awareness. They begin to leave the hall, one by one, returning to the corridors, to the quiet rooms beyond. The doors remain open for a moment, then gently close. The hall returns to stillness, empty yet full of calm. Outside, the night remains unchanged. The sky is deep and dark. The trees stand silent. The air moves softly. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the final rhythm of the day has faded completely. No movement remains. No sound disturbs the quiet. Only the steady presence of night. The lanterns glow softly along the paths, their light small but constant, and in that quiet glow, everything rests, calm, deep, and undisturbed.
The night has fully settled. The sky above the mountains is deep and dark. No trace of the day remains. The world is quiet. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, everything has come to rest. The courtyards are empty. The stone paths, once filled with steady movement, now lie still beneath the cool night air. The wooden halls stand silent, their doors closed gently, their interiors dark and undisturbed. Nothing moves. Nothing calls for attention. The rhythm of the day has ended. The practice has been completed. What remains now is stillness. Deep, steady, complete. The lanterns continue to glow softly along the corridors. Their light is faint, warm, but quiet. It does not reach far. It does not disturb the darkness around it. It simply exists, gently, without effort. A soft balance between light and shadow. The air is cool. It moves slowly through the temple grounds, passing between the buildings, through the open spaces, touching the wood, the stone, the earth. There is no sound of footsteps now, no movement of robes, no voices. The monks have withdrawn into their rooms, each space simple, ordered, a place for rest. Inside, the atmosphere remains calm. The same discipline that guided the day carries into the night. Nothing is rushed, nothing is disturbed. The body, after a day of movement and practice, becomes still. The breath slows. The mind quiets. Sleep arrives naturally, without effort, without resistance. In one room, a monk lies resting on a simple mat, his posture relaxed, his breathing slow, steady, even. There is no tension in the body, No lingering urgency from the day, only rest, pure and undisturbed. Elsewhere, another monk sits quietly for a moment before sleep. Not in formal meditation, just stillness, a final awareness of the breath. Then, gently, he lowers himself to rest. The transition is seamless, from awareness to sleep. The temple holds this quiet rhythm, every room, every space connected by the same calm presence. Outside, the night deepens further. The mountains stand in silence, their shapes barely visible against the dark sky. The trees remain still, with only the occasional soft movement of leaves when the breeze passes through. The world feels distant, far from noise, far from distraction. Here, there is only calm. The lanterns flicker slightly, a small movement of flame. Then, stillness again. Their glow reflects softly against the wooden walls, creating faint patterns of light and shadow that do not disturb the quiet. Time continues, but it is no longer felt. There are no markers, no sense of passing hours, only the deep presence of night. The temple rests completely now, not empty, but full of stillness. The energy of the day has not disappeared, it has settled. Within the walls, within the ground, within the quiet breath of those who sleep. Everything has returned to balance. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is unfinished. The practice of the day continues, in another form, in rest, in stillness, in the natural rhythm of recovery. The body restores itself, the mind clears, the breath remains steady, even in sleep. This too is part of the discipline, a gentle continuation of the same path, the same awareness, the same balance. The night holds the temple carefully, like a quiet shelter, protecting the calm within it, allowing everything to remain undisturbed. No sudden movement, no interruption, only the slow, steady passage of time. The lanterns begin to burn lower. Their light grows softer, dimmer, but still present, still steady. In the distance, the faint sound of the wind moves through the mountains, low, continuous, calming. It does not break the silence. It becomes part of it. The entire temple feels at peace, completely, deeply. Nothing more is required. Nothing more needs to happen. The day has ended. The night has taken its place. And within this quiet moment, everything rests. The courtyards remain still. The halls remain silent. The rooms remain calm. The breath of the temple slow and steady, unchanging, undisturbed. Within the peaceful grounds of the Shaolin Temple, the journey comes to its end, not with an event, not with a sound, but with stillness, deep, gentle, and complete. The lanterns glow faintly, the night remains calm, and the temple rests, quiet, balanced, and at peace.